raising of the building at 4 Elm Street. We have a second?
Yes, I second.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, the motion is unanimous. I think that, again, I think it's a good concept, but we have to, there's a lot of specifics we have to look at here in terms of
One of the things we have to apply to the Conservation Commission because we're within 100 feet of a wetland. I have those papers also ready to go. So there's some steps.
There's a lot of things that have to be done before it comes to fruition.
In connection with that, Bud and I not only visited that site, but we also went out to the Stone Bridge Conservation Area and looked at the entrances on both ends and tried to look at where we would put gates. As you know, the state has written us a letter and said that we need to close that area off. And one gate we think that's already there, that's on the Dudley Road side.
Berry Road side.
Berry Road side, will suffice. It just has to be closed off and a little repair done. We need another gate at the other end. And again, I talked with John Henshaw, and he's amenable to using community preservation funds, or voting for community preservation funds if we request them, to pay for the cost of a gate. A gate, we found a place where we could put up a gate that's bordered on both sides with swamp and wetland, so people can't go around the gate other than going into water. So we think it'll work. There's a rail trail there. It's going to be difficult to prevent people who are really determined to get in there from getting in by way of the rail trail. John Kaplis, who is involved with the Boy Scouts in town, has said that the Boy Scouts will volunteer to go in and clean up some of the trash and debris for us. Have to provide them with a truck to take it out of there. There's not that much. We looked around. There's not a lot of debris there. It's over by the area that's been used for a firing range. So I think we can secure that and comply with the demand of the state and get that done also before the snow. Also, I spoke with the manager of the Light and Water Department today. They would like to donate a 2010 Ford Explorer. A manager's getting a new vehicle. They'd like to donate their existing vehicle. He has had a conversation with the cemetery and parks superintendent, and they would like to donate the vehicle to the cemetery and parks. It has 80,000 miles on it. Seems like it's in reasonably good, very good condition, in fact. Board of Selectmen will have to vote to accept the gift.
We have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the gift of the 2010 Ford Explorer to the Cemetery and Parks Department.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Julie?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
I will vote yes. The vote is unanimous to accept the vehicle.
2010 Ford Explorer, yes. Also, the sheriff's crew are going to return and do the washing, the power washing of the exterior of this building, get rid of some of the grime as well as some of the graffiti shadows that we can see at the back of the building. They will be coming back shortly. Also, the finance people have been working on the whole business of the vendor warrant and the payroll warrant, and they've asked me to announce to the selectmen that the payroll and vendor warrants will be available every single week at as of 5 p.m. on Wednesdays. So you won't have to worry about when's it going to be ready. It's going to be ready at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, every Wednesday, for your signatures. I I've made some calls on a single contract for a phone system, and they're doing some checking, basically, to see what can be done. I've no doubt we can save some money through a single contract. Holly is also seeking bids and contractors for the insulation work that's needed above this floor to tighten up this building. And also, we think that we may have enough funds available for the window replacement, for the complete window replacement. The estimate that we have is far less expensive right now than we thought it was. And so there again, to be a significant savings on fuel in the wintertime.
How much does it cost per window?
Well, the bid was, what, the estimate was $17,000 for everything, right?
Yeah, but
Including the insulation?
when I had the second guy come back today, I had forgotten about the little windows in here, so it might be a little bit more.
Okay.
Hidden windows,
Did you count the windows?
I didn't, but I neglected the closet and the bathroom windows.
Well, I mean, Diane's question is how much per window? Did they give you that figure? No.
Well, I'm
I'd have to-
asking
I'd
that
have to look at the
because,
estimate.
I'm asking that because instead of possibly using funds from us, we could seek donations from the public. And if it was a cost per window and they could have it done in someone else's memory, maybe that would be something that, it would just be another piece of history in town hall and that the people can claim as their own. So that's why I was asking, I mean, is it 5,000 per window, is it 200 per window, is it, the First Church did that, and it was very popular. So I'm just asking if that would be an option.
Yeah, once I get the other quotes, I can break it down better.
Okay, thank you.
Also, lastly, since we have vacated Scout Hall and the junk in the basement has been removed by the sheriff's crew, the WAN has done some work on ownership of the building. And the building was never given to the town. It is still owned by the same family that loaned it to the town about a century and a half ago. And so we have the genealogy, and over the next couple of weeks, we're going to try and contact, it would be, this is the 4th generation from the donor family, and identify the surviving person entitled to resume control of that building and tell them it's all theirs.
Wow.
This is very bizarre. The genealogy that she did goes back to 1782. So you may want to take a look. That's
When was this building loaned to the town?
I think it was late 1800s.
yeah, well over a century ago.
Holy cow.
That concludes.
Back in,
Wow.
the news from like will be gone. All right. We've already discussed the election and special town meeting. Approval of a modular building being added to the property for the animal place.
Ahimsa?
How do you say that?
Ahimsa.
Ahimsa. Ahimsa Haven. Is there somebody here regarding that?
Yes,
Hi,
there's
you
three
wanna
of us
come
here.
up with
Come up,
that? Sure, then we can all hear you.
all right. My name is Marjorie Sargent, and I'm joined by, Nicole Roberts and April Plum. And we're here to ask permission to add a modular space to the area in front of the building that we're leasing from the town. The goal of adding the space is to be able to separate our animal populations. Currently, when an owner comes in with a cat they want to surrender, or when somebody finds a stray, we're putting that cat of unknown vaccine and medical history in with cats that have been vaccinated. and it puts the whole place at risk. So adding the building would allow us to have all the adoptable cats that have had all their vetting inside the building for the public to come in. The modular space would be used for cats that are getting ready to be adopted, waiting for shots and medical exams.
Okay.
It's a 50-foot by 10-foot trailer. It has 2 points of egress, fully working smoke detectors. We would not be hooking it up to water or sewer. We would only be hooking it up to electrical, and that would be our responsibility, obviously. What else can I tell you?
The insurance, I just spoke to, got the insurance certificate, and talked to our insurance company, so that's gonna be covered by him. And the building inspector is gonna be looking into it as well, so if you made a vote tonight, it would be on the condition that, you know, they had to meet anything that the building inspector or the planning board.
And we're very amenable as to where we're gonna place it to what the planning board or yourselves or the building inspector suggests.
I would vote to authorize it contingent upon getting the needed approvals.
I make a motion to approve the modular building being added to the property on behalf of Ahimsa Haven, subject to the planning board, building inspector, and anyone else that needs to be there.
I don't know if they need to be involved, but I would include the Board of Health.
And the Board of Health,
Yeah.
yeah, and the Board of Health.
Okay, so,
Yes.
Well, any department that, because one question could lead to another, so just kind of wanted to.
all right. So we have a motion, do you have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Does anyone have any questions of, Mr. Chase?
In the event that they should choose to relocate, what would happen to the building then? Or the modular?
We would take full responsibility for removal of the building.
Perhaps we could have some type of agreement between the town and the
Could be an amendment to
Yeah,
the
could be
contract that we
standard agreement.
have with them, and we just put an amendment on that, John? Is that-
Yeah.
Oh,
as long as it's in writing somewhere.
you're the kind of tenants that we want.
He's a good tenant.
These are amazing tenants.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I will vote yes, that vote is unanimous. That was quick and easy, huh?
Thank you so much.
So when is this going to be,
As soon as possible?
as soon as possible? We'll have to check you out.
Yeah, this is fine. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Bill.
All right. Road reclamation contract. We have what's the bid we have here?
This is the one that got left out last time because I wasn't quite sure if we received the bond, but it was there the next day, the lowest bidder. Everything's in order, or it's the lowest bidder.
We already paid the amount.
Okay, so we have, this is when we have two bids for, okay, so bids have been opened July 22nd. We have checked out the low bidder, and the low bidder, meets qualifications.
Correct.
Okay, and so you are recommending the low bidder?
Yes. With a alternative, if the low bidder cannot produce, it goes to the second bidder. I talked to Bob about that.
Mhm.
All right,
Well, we had some problems last year, but we were delayed
yeah,
more than a month
yeah.
by the
From this low
contractor.
bidder, Murray Paving,
Yes.
Yes,
so he doesn't have a very good track record.
it was a very busy construction season for all, but it was difficult to get him in here. He had overbooked himself, and he did come in, and we still got our roads done, but later in the season than I had hoped for, and that's why we got a little backlog with this season catching up from last, but my understanding is that he's made some improvements. Once it's awarded tonight, we'll be able to look at our first chapter project for this season.
All right.
I think that's where they are.
All right, do we have a motion?
How do I make this motion? So, I make a motion to, is it award
Award,
the bid,
award the bid
award the bid,
for
to,
road reclamation.
for road reclamation to Murray Paving in the amount of $47,750, with the caveat that if they cannot produce in how many days,
Perform in a timely manner.
perform in a timely manner, that it goes to the next bidder.
Correct, thank you.
We have a
Oh.
second.
Sorry.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none. Diane?
Yes?
Doug?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. It's unanimous. All right, what do we got here? We talked about Steve Castle.
Just so you know, it's orange.
So last time I was here, we were discussing the bids for this room and some of the confusion that arose, and the winning bidder did not want to pay a payment bond that we had specified in the RFP. We went back at the suggestion of the select board and asked him if he would pay a performance bond, which is somewhat different than a payment bond, and he used them as the same, and he does not want to do that. So, and he has not been the easiest person to work with, as I think Holly can attest to with our phone calls with him. I have checked with the Attorney General's office on our options, and in the best interest of the town, we can reject both the bids and start over, and not do it under construction as we did it, which goes up to $25,000, which is why we did the RFP, but we can do it under Chapter 30B, for supplies and services, which is not construction. The only thing in our bid that would be considered construction would be the wires over the ceiling, and they're not on the cost enough to do it as construction. So the Attorney General's office confirmed with me that all the other equipment and the services could fall under supplies and services, and then we don't have to go through all the rigmarole of another RFP and bring in this dynamic where one company bid really low and kind of lowballed it to get the bid, and another company, you know, is a little bit exorbitant and we want to get them down. And this also opens up the possibility, because they really want you to get 3 bids and document them, and we can get a 3rd bid. And we talked to 2 other companies, came in and saw this room, but neither of them bid, and I think it was the payment bond mix getting in play. So I recommend to the board, and I apologize for all the confusion of this, I wish I had known beforehand all of our options in this, and we would have handled it differently, but I would recommend to the board that we reject both the bids and start over.
All right. Well, why don't we do this in 2 pieces here? We have a motion to reject both the bids.
So,
Second? You seconded to reject both the bids. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Diane?
yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
I will vote yes, that's unanimous, those bids are rejected. Now, R2, you want to, we need to authorize you to file a request for proposal?
No, I think we can do this without a request for proposal because it falls under chapter 30B, supplies and
All right,
services.
so
We
you're just gonna go out and get
35,000.
three
I will work with both the bidders and we'll try to get the winning bid. Hopefully this gentleman will be more cooperative now that the performance bond and payment bond issue is off the table. And my concern with that bid was because he came in lowball that we weren't gonna get the equipment that we needed. And that's why originally when I came to the board, I asked, okay, his bid was for 23,000, can we go up to 30,000? Because that's where we think the quote really should have been. And the other company, I wanna work with them and see what they can do to bring us down. Because, for instance, the video switcher they spec'd in was 12,500, excuse me. And, I'm gonna actually go over to Massachusetts this week and see, they have that piece in there and see how it works. But according to, one of our technology consultants at Massachusetts, that's a system that requires quite a bit of expertise to run. And if you had volunteers, I may be able to train to do it, but a volunteer may not be able to get it right away. So I wanna take a look at that and maybe even demo the other material, from the other companies and see what's the best solution for this room.
Yes.
Steve, can, do you think it was really only about the bond that sometimes, service doesn't always equate to money? So if we were to award him a bid and then he wasn't really, the company, maybe not just a person, responsive to you, it's gonna cost us time, money, and.
I think that's something we definitely have to take into
Okay.
consideration moving forward.
Okay. It's just what I'm asking, I don't really know what he went through, but to, again, have to make lots of phone calls, no response, no, it's not really gonna
Yeah.
serve us well,
Right.
so,
Um,
that's all.
I would definitely take it into consideration moving forward and see that's why a third bid may fall in the
Right.
middle and maybe, the Goldilocks zone for us in terms of that, or the other bidder may be able to work down, and give us a solution that is more affordable and that we can really use. But I doubt very much it's gonna cost more than 35. It should be in the $30,000 range.
Do you know when you'd be able to come back to us with something?
Hopefully within a few weeks, because we're already researching the bids that came in much more closely and saying, okay, this may work, that may work, and it's really a matter of me going back to those companies and saying, okay, can you adjust it here and here,
Mhm.
and what can you offer, and calling up one of the other companies that did, and seeing if we can get a great bid. Because one of the gentlemen there has some pretty good ideas, I was disappointed he didn't bid.
That was a minor question.
So I can bring you another recommendation in a few weeks.
Okay,
if you wish.
all right, good luck.
Thank you. And I apologize for the confusion. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Chief Bennett?
John,
Yeah.
before we go further, a loose end of the highway department, two things. They're, like pointed out, ready to start chapter 90 road program. And, his inclination to start with Friday out. So we'll inform the board to have a different view. Now's the time.
Who's starting with it?
Friday out.
Friday, yeah?
Yes. Start there.
I accept his good judgment.
Yeah, but that's, especially since, been out there. It's embarrassing to see the wonderful work that's done by the city of Gardner. Right out there. And then secondly, he has some additional information on, the excavator. That, gotta be open, plus a 7-year guarantee.
Okay, since the last meeting, I've been talking to 2 vendors. One vendor had a machine on the lot, which I went to today, and I demoed it there, myself and the mechanic. We went over the machine with the people from Volvo. John Deere had a problem as far as getting a machine. It was gonna be a 30, they had none on the lot. They were sold out, and there was one machine up in northern Maine that they could have brought down for a demo, but I had indicated to him there was no guarantee I was gonna take it, so if they trucked it down here, it's a possibility that he may not win on this. So mechanic and I went to Woolburn today. We spent the day in Woolburn going over the machine, and we were able to negotiate a better price based on their quote. It actually matched the John Deere price of $193,000. But I was able to sit with the manager and negotiate some other items for the machine at no extra cost. He was able to sit down, he made some phone calls to Volvo, he got some more incentives, some more rebates for that machine, which gave him the ability to negotiate. So this machine here is gonna be, meets our it actually supersedes my specs of what I was looking for, and to include a hydraulic thumb, they call it, that is attached to the machine at no cost to us, frost tooth at no cost to us. They actually increase the amount of
Resale.
Trade-in. That's the one I was, trade-in I was looking at. They had offered us previously $14,500, they offered us $21,500 to work the numbers with the rebates that were coming back from Volvo. So the machine, bottom line, is $193,000. I talked to Bob today, this afternoon. They came with a lowboy trailer, and they picked up our machine and all the attachments, the buckets that went with it. And a few minutes ago, I just got a phone call from the truck driver. I've got to meet him at the highway barn as we speak. They're unloading the new one. So it's being delivered as I speak. So the town gained a little bit more on this particular machine.
Yeah, has someone looked at the warranty?
I have it in my car for Bob's look at, Bob Holly, or,
Can somebody scan that? I'd like to peruse that, please.
yeah,
Thank you.
it's a two-page document.
Okay. Oh, that's it?
I can bring it in, I just left it out
Oh,
in
you
the
can
car.
leave me in my mailbox.
And, Mr. Chairman, for the fall town meeting, I will have transfers from that off-budget bank account, as well as the $50,000 that the planning department apparently has available, so that'll give us $173.
I haven't discussed that with my board
We
yet.
will not be, pardon?
I haven't discussed it with our board, it's on our next agenda, so.
We're gonna lose it anyway.
Huh?
We're gonna lose it anyway.
Oh, yeah?
So that, we won't compromise our ability to do road construction.
Where are you going after Crawdad?
I'm sorry.
Where are you going after Crawdad? What was your next? Because I drove all those roads.
Yeah, you saw.
I did.
My personal recommendation would be to work on South Road.
Because?
They're equally in the same type of shape.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it from a standpoint that South Road is a little more heavily traveled with our
Mhm.
residents versus Hubbardston Road, which is a lot of wooded area.
Okay. I was just curious.
That would be my recommendation at this point.
Thanks.
Open for discussion if the board would like to discuss it.
I was just asking. I did drive them, and they're both pretty much the same. Crawdad is a complete disaster. It makes it dangerous because Gardner did their road, and to come upon it in the dark, okay, I'm not really a speeder, right, so,
I've seen it.
but it was, yeah, all right, thank you. But it was, yeah, it was a bit of a shock, like just all of a sudden that road is an absolute disaster.
Well, now that the contract has been signed with the reclamation company, I can hopefully get him in here. Perhaps that's why, well, I had called him a couple of weeks ago, he hasn't come in yet, but perhaps he was waiting for the contract to be signed.
Will you be using the new excavator?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see
On
it
every road we
mentioned.
do.
Thanks. I'm done, that was just
All
a
right.
question, thanks.
You all set, Bob? All right. Chief Bennett?
Let's see, general updates. Actually, the Boynton Street, Baldwinville Road project has been completed.
Yay.
I sent out notification to all the residents, notifying them that it went into effect immediately, but they had a 30-day cushion to where my officers were gonna use discretion on enforcing it and giving them a break-in period. It's been well received. I haven't had any issues or complaints at this time. We also had the highway department go out and address an issue of Memorial Street with their one-way issue. Residents were complaining. I redesigned the signs, positioned them, also put up some yellow no parking stripe in front of, alongside the church on Memorial Street after discussing it with the, I guess you would call them the church elders. Measured out the road, put approximately 14 yellow arrows down the center of the road, pointing in the direction that the travel is supposed to go. All the residents I've spoken to are happy with the changes, and they say it has made a change, or a difference. I believe the other issue I'm here for is in speaking with Selectman Brooks is Patriots Road at the 5-way intersection. That intersection has been troublesome since I've been here. Basically, it's a nightmare. So if you're not from the area, and I see it almost weekly, if you're not from the area and you come up on that intersection, you have no clue what to do.
Yeah, they usually throw on the brakes.
Yeah, and they stop right in the middle, because they have no idea. For the residents, it's not as bad, because we grew up with it, or grew accustomed to it, and we understand how the traffic is supposed to go. And was speaking with Mr. Chase about it. I was informed many years ago that there was a state, MRPC, was gonna go forward with a rotary at that intersection. And for some reason, it didn't go forward. In speaking with the state superintendent of our district here, Mike Zisk, he recommended that the Board of Selectmen write an official letter to our district and ask them to address that issue.
Mass Highway?
Yes,
District 2.
District 2. He feels that is the best way that issue would be addressed. Being that we are the last community in the district, we do get put on the back burner at times, and that's why he suggested an official letter from the Board of Selectmen.
May I?
Yes.
And the reason being is because the state and the town share where the roundabout will be. So, in my opinion, I think the state should step up and take a hard look at it with their district engineers to design, and perhaps, I keep saying the word perhaps, but perhaps the District 2 will take charge of that and design it with their own engineers, so that we, the town, would not have to use our chapter funds to design that roundabout. It was indicated approximately 2 decades ago that, a decade ago, that it was, MRPC indicated it was gonna be approximately $1 million to do that roundabout. So, I think it's important to see if the state, because otherwise we'd have to get on the tip list for that amount of money to do that kind of a project. And maybe we can, maybe the state will share the pain on trying to correct that problem, since it mostly impacts the state
Road.
state travel.
I would make a motion that we send a letter to the district asking them to look at the intersection and potentially design a road.
I second that motion.
All right, any other discussion?
Thanks for doing all that research, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I
I'd also like to just comment that maybe we should look in, once again, because I know a couple of years back, we looked at the possibility of a grant for the East Templeton Village and such, and we got so many signatures in the area and so forth. That has kind of stalemated, so maybe we could look at that as well at the same time as sending the letter.
Well, the grant.
Grant is different, I
Is
asked.
the community development block grant?
Right,
Yeah.
and I'm suggesting that maybe we bring that back up as well.
Yeah, I think, wasn't that?
That's already slated.
That's in motion right now.
That's already
Is
in
it back in
motion.
motion?
It's back
Yeah.
in motion now.
Yeah,
The early phases of it, Mike, I think, indicated
It's in the
that
early stage.
he's gonna be
Okay.
looking at starting that up.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we have a motion to write the letter to Mass Highway District
District
2. Any further discussion? Mr. Radigan?
I just got one idea I lived in the area all my life. Is why do we really need 101 coming up there? What if we got rid of 101 down to Orchard Lane and created an intersection at Schoolhouse Road? You know, got rid of that, just that section that does,
I just had
I
that
don't,
whole
I
You know?
don't believe the truck traffic would be able to.
be able to negotiate that corner?
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
come winter time, you've gotta,
You don't want.
Yeah, I see what you mean, I see what you mean, but,
plus you're only gonna move the problem from one area to the
No,
other.
it's- yeah.
A roundabout is really the only fix for that area.
so something like that was done down at Wagner Toyota, where they put that roundabout there, where those
Yeah.
roads come together?
And up in Keene, it took away a lot of the confusion up there,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
and it's worked out now.
just my input.
It's a good one, too.
Well, that's what I thought.
Anything else? Not, Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Judy? That it, chief?
Yes.
Temporary trailer permit. Excuse me.
Mallory came to me this morning with this, there's a gentleman that had a fire at his house, 235 Powder River Road, and he is in a hotel, and wants to put a mobile home, or, well, a trailer, whatever you call it, on the property while he builds. Looked into it a little bit, and the building inspector sent a law that basically says the state mandates that the board approve it.
Insurance company pays for it. It's usually, it's an insurance company usually puts the temporary housing on the site while they rebuild, so shouldn't be no special permit for this board. I'd put one there if I had to, whether you like it or not.
Well, you have to get a trailer permit.
Well, I know the house that burned across the street from Candle Lake put up
Yeah, that's, I think that's what you're talking about, just a temporary trailer,
a
right?
temporary
Is that what
trailer.
that is?
Yeah,
And the
You-
board
usually
hasn't-
supplied by the insurance company.
I don't know, I don't know if that was before I was chief, I don't know if you did approve a trailer to go on that property, but I know they did do one while they were building.
I don't remember that. I
I wouldn't think you would
I
have to.
don't think I was on the board for the fire, but I helped them a
Is-
lot.
Isn't that
Well, I
more,
think that, oh,
it's a
sorry.
Board of Health issue
I
with the
think the reason you don't
trailer?
have to approve it is because they come, they're registered.
Yeah, I
So
don't,
you don't need you don't need to get a special permit from this board for somebody to park a registered trailer on their property, because they're already paying
So.
excise tax and whatnot.
I don't see why we would ever say no. They lost
Right, exactly.
everything.
Well, yeah, the
They
state,
lost everything.
the state law says you can't say no, It's just,
Well, I don't think it says that we have to vote that. It just has to meet all the requirements, which would be the building inspector, the board of health, whoever they have to
It's just
go
building
to.
inspector, really,
I
just,
don't think it right.
right, but since we have temporary trailer permits, wouldn't you still have to vote it?
I don't think so. Again,
we don't have,
you were on the board for the
Temporary
fire
trailer.
for.
we don't have temporary trailer permits, we have permanent
Yes, we
residence
do.
permits, right?
There's temporary ones. The
Really?
building inspector sent me a copy of one from years ago.
I don't think we ever did one for the
I
place.
don't think
across
this
the
scenario
But I have no
applies
issue
myself,
voting
but
one
it's not.
for these people if that's.
I don't know if
The
you
building
need to, I
inspector
just,
says
Mallory
no.
brought it to me
Can I
today,
see
so
that?
I thought it should come.
Kirk, this is what it says. No zoning zoning ordinance or bylaw shall prohibit the owner and occupier of a residence which has been destroyed by fire or other natural holocaust from placing a manufactured home on the site of such residence and residing in such home for a period not to exceed 12 months while the residence is being rebuilt. Any such manufactured home shall be subject to the provisions of the state sanitary code. Doesn't
Yeah.
say anything else about, right?
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
we're good.
that's state law.
As long as-
And
as
again,
long
we
as
would
the Board
never-
of
why
Health
would we
and
say
the
no?
building inspector
Yeah.
are happy with it.
Yeah, we're good,
We're good.
right, yeah.
So if we don't need to take any action on this, is this correct?
I'm not making.
All right. Subordination agreement on Millbrook Drive, Unit 97, we did one of these, short time ago.
Yeah, February 23rd. How you doing? Alright, sweet. Yeah, no, so you know what the circumstances are a little bit, I don't know, contingent on sales and.
I'm sorry, could you speak up a little bit?
The property values haven't been going up for a long time.
Yeah.
So as far as anything, when this was, in place, that I got it notarized for, schedule removal of 40B, the assessed value wasn't at what the buyer price was gonna be. So, this sale fell through, we're back on the market, all the way till present day, potential buyer, once again, but I lowered the price. So it's still up for a 40B removal, it's still past the 90-day that had to do with the CHAPA, where they advertise that it goes over to, you can do, free market real estate. So it's at the point where trying to get it removed, pretty much simple.
We've done this before. I make a motion that we authorize the chairman of the board to sign the compliance certificate to remove the chapter 40B so that he can self-assess.
Just
So,
for,
I think we've had, this will be the third one since
right, okay.
I've been on the board, and we can't say yes to one and no to another.
In your motion, just say what the address of the property
Oh, I'm
is.
sorry. For 27 Millbrook Drive, Unit 97, Templeton, Mass. 01467.
All right.
yeah,
We have,
I sent you the document, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Were you here when we did this before, or you have any
No,
questions
so I
about it?
abstain from this tonight.
Oh, you don't have to abstain, it just,
Oh,
well, the reason I was asking was if you had
understand.
questions about what's going on here.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Is, Holly, I just gave him what's in my packet. Is that what
Okay,
he has to sign?
I'll give this back.
Is there, no, you have something else, right? Sorry, I didn't want you to just sign what I gave you, I just, I didn't know if
Okay,
you
no,
read
I
it.
will sign what,
Okay, thank you.
all right, so we have a motion on the floor, we have a second. Discussion, hearing none. Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Abstain.
I vote yes, so it's 3 in favor, 1 abstain, the motion passed. Okay, discussion of the sex offender bylaw. As you are all probably aware, we recently got an email from town council saying that there was a case, a Supreme Court case, which involved a bylaw in another town similar to ours, and the Supreme Court voted against it, and that makes our sex offender bylaw unenforceable. So if we were to act on somebody in regards to that, the court would just throw it out.
That was a citizen's petition anyways, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
State regulatory statutes are of two kinds. One, where the state will establish a regulation and municipalities are allowed to supplement. As long as they don't conflict with the state regulation, they can add on. Example of that would be the Wetlands Protection Act, where a lot of municipalities have extended.
Really stricter, but it can't.
Yes. The other kind of state statute, and this is what the court ruled, the other kind of state law is one where, as they say, the state occupies the field. That is to say, this is the regulation, and municipalities are not allowed to change, to supplement in any way. But the regulation stands for everybody, municipal bylaws are not valid. And the court has ruled that in this case, this municipal bylaw is invalid, and by extension, every other bylaw in the state having to do with regulation of sex offenders is not enforceable. And so that's the advice of our town council is, do not enforce that bylaw because you don't have authority to do it. So, I mean, we still have regulation of sex offenders, but it's all through state statute.
All right. Any other questions or comments regarding this? Okay, the Developmental Center Reuse Committee, I had some contact with the state, and they're doing what they need to do, and we're gonna have a meeting sometime in October. So we will be setting a date with that, and we will let you know, it will be posted. So, we'll take it from there. And any other business, Bob?
No, I think we're good.
All right,
Exec session.
okay, we're gonna. Okay, we will go into executive session per Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21.7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general special law or federal grant name requirements, and for MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21.2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining or contract negotiations. I declare that we have the need to do this, so we will take a vote to go into executive session. Diane?
Yes.
Should I ask?
I'm like,
Can
so
I have a
moved.
motion? Yes. All right.
Sorry.
All right,
So moved.
so we have a motion and a second to go into executive session for the reasons stated. Diane? Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I will vote yes, that's unanimous. We will take a, let's take, at least 5 minutes, give the, cable people